Things are good. It's a nice Sunday afternoon, very quiet. It's also getting much cooler here in North America. So I think maybe it's the opposite in Lima because you guys are about to start spring in a few weeks.
Yeah, hopefully. Today it was a bit sunny,
Uh-huh.
so I I went to do some exercise by
Uh-huh.
bicycling
So you decided to ride your bike? Uh-huh.
for 1 hour, so it was great. Because
Nice.
the other days it's cold and no, I don't I don't like to bicycle when it's cold.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even I think one of the things I really enjoy doing is if it's not a very windy day, I
Uh-huh.
enjoy biking right along the edge of the water. So we we are
Ah,
we are far away from oceans or lakes, or we are far away from oceans in my part of the country, but there's some very nice lakes. So there are some parks that are right next to the lake. So if the day is not windy, I like to ride my bike right next to the water. It's very nice.
yeah, cool. Very
Yeah,
relaxing.
very relaxing. Unfortunately, today is too cool for that. I feel like if I have to maybe wear a sweater if I'm outside and trying to bike. So yeah,
It is
uh,
changing.
definitely it's changing. The weather is changing all the
What
time.
time what time is it there?
5 o'clock,
Ah, the same.
same as Lima. Yeah,
Same here.
Central time in the United States, or Mexico City also is the same time, and then Lima and I think Bogota is also the same time.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, very nice, very nice. Hey, Monia, how's it going?
Hey, Farhan.
How's it going?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I think this is your first time in my class.
Everything is good.
Where are you
Yes,
from?
exactly. I'm from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, very nice. There are a lot of Saudi students. Yesterday, I met two new Saudi students. Emmy, who just joined, she is also from Saudi Arabia. What part of Saudi do you live
Really?
in, Monia? Yeah,
I live in Mecca,
Mecca Al
the holy
Mukarramah.
city. Yes,
Absolutely. I know, I
exactly.
know. I was born in Najran actually.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was
the south.
the very south near Yemen.
Yeah, I have, my parents actually from Yemen.
Oh, nice.
But
So
yeah,
yeah, Najran,
I've born here.
you're born in Mecca,
I've born in Taif.
in Taif. Okay, so very close.
No, in Taif.
Taif. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty close. Yeah,
Well, nice
fantastic.
to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well. I hope you can join me in a few other classes. So, Emmy, welcome to class. I think we don't need to be introduced. I think we know each other
Yes.
pretty well.
Hi.
Uh, yeah.
Salam
And you,
alaikum.
Walaikum salam. You, Lisa, you know this phrase, Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, I have a friend from Saudi Arabia. He lives
Nice.
in Al-Hasa.
Al-Hassa, okay.
Ah,
Yeah, and he taught me
Hi.
it's
some
a
words.
desert.
There are lots of
Hi, Lisa.
Saudis. So many Saudis. Yeah, it's good. And Noelia, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Hi, how's it going?
Yes, Noelia.
Noelia, where are you from?
I am Argentinian, but
Argentinian,
now I am living in Brazil.
Brazil. Very nice, very nice. That's great. I think it's your first time in my class as well.
Yeah,
How long have you been studying on Colingo?
um, just 3 weeks.
Just 3 weeks. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
I've been teaching for maybe 6 weeks, so I'm
Ah,
also I'm also relatively new to this, to the Colingo experience. But
okay.
yeah, and I'm actually very happy all of you guys joined in maybe the first 5 minutes. We are going to wait just a few more minutes. Have you guys all met each other before? Noelia, have you met these other ladies?
No.
Okay. You can introduce yourselves, guys, while we wait. I mean,
Okay, so I am Noelia. I'm from Argentina and I'm living in Brazil. I am architect and I came to Brazil for a post-graduation 3 years ago, but now I'm working in an architecture office.
fantastic. Monia, would you mind to tell us something about yourself? Monia, are you there? Maybe she can't hear me. Yulisa, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Ulisa. I am from Peru. I live in Lima, and what else? I'm here to keep updating my English, keep improving, speaking better. Yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. And Emmy, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Okay, my name is Amy. I'm from Jordan, but I live in Saudi Arabia. I'm programmer, computer programmer actually, working online on my home. I met you, Lisa, and I met Monia, but welcome Noella?
Thanks.
No, I don't.
Noelia.
Noelia. Okay,
Yeah,
nice name.
thanks.
Great. So yeah, Monia, are you there? Can you hear us? Maybe she is not there right now. And in any case, so just to give a little bit of background on me for people who might not have met me yet, my name is Farhan. I live in Wisconsin, which is a very agricultural state in the U.S. It's in the middle of the country. It's in the northern part of the country, so we call it the Midwest. You guys are from the Mid-East, so Emmy and Monia are from the Middle East. I am from the Middle West, the Midwest. And so if we talk about the United States, the Midwest is roughly the center of the country in the north part. And lots of farms here. I think every time I try to explain Wisconsin, so this is my state, Wisconsin. Every time I describe Wisconsin, everybody says they don't know anything about it. So I just say that it has a lot of cheese, a lot of milk, a lot of dairy, a lot of cows. We have probably more cows than we have people. So it's a very agricultural state. Yeah, lot going on. I should say not a lot going on, but 2 hours from Chicago, roughly. So if you know where Chicago is, we are about 2 hours north of Chicago. So, yeah. Monia, so you're back. Can you hear
Yeah, I'm
us now?
sorry.
Yeah. Would
It
you
was
mind?
a bad connection.
No worries. Would you mind saying a little bit about yourself to the rest of us? Just introducing yourself.
Sure. My name is Munia Al-Hibshi. I'm from Saudi Arabia, and I'm studying at the Department of European Languages and its Literature. And also I'm teaching science and math and English for secondary and intermediate school.
Mm-hmm. All of this in Mecca?
I'm learning English because I love. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were saying all of
And
this.
I love learning English, and I'm here. Yeah, I'm here to improve my language and my pronunciation and other things.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the class. So we are at kind of that 9-minute mark. I think this is a good time for us to begin the lesson because we have, we'll have a good amount of time left to make some discussions, to participate in some discussions. So
can you tell me more about yourself, please?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I forgot you were not here when I introduced myself, Monia. So my name is Farhan. I am 24 years old. I live in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a state in the Midwest of the United States. Lots of cows, lots of cheese, lots of milk. We don't have that many people, and it is 2 hours north of Chicago. I graduated 2 years ago from university. I am currently working as a software project manager, developer in Wisconsin right now. And yeah, so that's really me. Not much else going on right now with my life. Very busy. So, as I'm sure all of
Thank
you
you.
guys are. Yeah, you're welcome, of course. So, fantastic. Let's get started with the lesson, guys. We are about 11 minutes into class. So today, the lesson that we are going to be focusing on is actually adverbs, right? So adverbs, when we think of adverbs, they are used to describe verbs. They add more information to a sentence in terms of describing the verb of the sentence, right? So really, when we think of adjectives, we think adjectives describe nouns, right? The red book, the large house, the yellow submarine. But when it comes to adverbs, adverbs add more information about verbs. So one example of an adverb would be if I were to say, the man cried loudly when he got hurt. Okay, the man cried loudly when he got hurt. Right? In that verb or in that sentence, I'll ask Noelia. In that sentence, which one is the adverb? The man cried loudly when he felt pain.
Loudly.
Yeah, loudly, right? Because loudly is describing the verb. And what is the verb in that sentence?
Crying.
Cried, right? Exactly. So the man cried loudly. Did he cry softly? No. Did he just cry? No. He cried loudly. So that's why it's a very good way to think of it in that sense. Sometimes when we look at complex grammar in English, it's easy to think about it with a more simple example, right? And in the lessons, we will start off with maybe a simple example, and then we're going to go to a more advanced example later on. So let's start with, so when we describe adverbs, right? They give you more information about a verb. So we covered that. But they can also describe an adjective or another adverb. Okay? So adverbs are actually very interesting because they can give us information about 3 different things. They can give us information about a verb, or they can give us information about an adjective, or they can give us information about another adverb. Okay? So, Monia, what if the example that I give you, I'm going to give you a sentence, and I want you to tell me what the adverb is, right? The dog is really cute. The dog is really cute. What's the adverb in that example?
Really?
Really, fantastic, right? So in this example, is the adverb describing a verb, or is it describing an adjective, or is it describing another adverb?
An adjective.
Perfect. And what adjective is it describing? The dog is really cute.
Cute.
Cute, fantastic, right?
Really cute. Cute.
Really cute, exactly. So it's describing cute. Is the dog just normal cute? No. Is the dog ugly? No. The dog is really cute, right? So that's another way of thinking about the situation, right? So once again, adverbs modify verbs, modify adjectives, or they modify other adverbs, right? So let's go to Ulisa. Ulisa, if I were to say, give you a sentence, and if the sentence was something like, he works incredibly quickly. He works incredibly quickly. Okay? How many adverbs do we have in this sentence?
We have two adverbs.
2. Which ones are they? He works incredibly quickly. Which ones are the adverbs?
Incredibly and quickly.
Fantastic. And which adverb is describing another word in the sentence? Which of these 2 adverbs is doing the description?
I think the first one, incredibly.
Fantastic. Why did you say incredibly compared to quickly?
Because it's before the second adverb.
Yeah, right? So in English, most of the time, unless you're reading poetry or something crazy, the order is actually very easy to follow, right? So if somebody says, I work incredibly quickly, you can also think of it as how quickly. You can think of how, right? How quickly is this person working? He's working incredibly quickly, so it's describing the adverb quickly, right? So Yulisa, this is an example of an adverb describing another what?
Adverb.
Adverb. Fantastic, right? So we saw 3 examples before. First example we saw was the man cried loudly. That was with Noelia, right? The man cried loudly. In that example, loudly is the adverb that is describing a verb, cried. In the second example, the dog is really cute. The dog is really cute. We learned about how an adverb can modify an adjective. Really modifies cute. And in the third example, he works incredibly quickly. We see that an adverb can describe another adverb. Incredibly describes quickly, right? Any questions from you guys about that beginning kind of overview of what adverbs do? Any questions? Okay, Noelia's okay. How about the rest of you guys that I can't see?
No.
Okay, we're good. So Emmy's good, Ulisa's good. Laura, how's it going?
Okay.
Good to see you again.
Hi.
We have a fellow Argentinian in the class. Do you know Noelia? She's also from Argentina.
No.
Hi.
Yeah, so we have 2 Argentinians now. We have 2 Argentinians, 2 Saudis, a Peruvian, and an American. This is great. For every part of the world.
International class.
Exactly. Fantastic. So, okay. So, Emmy, give me an example of a sentence using the adverb quickly that is modifying another verb. Okay? So that first type we saw where an adverb modifies a verb, give me a sentence with the adverb modifying a verb, and let's make the adverb quickly. Any sentence you want. This one's for Emmy. I'm sorry, I was speaking a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything with quickly. Another verb with quickly.
Another verb or adverb?
So adverb is, the adverb that I'm giving you already is quickly, right? Let's make a sentence using quickly describing another verb.
Okay. I read the instructions quickly.
I read the instructions quickly, or I read the instructions quickly. Fantastic, right? What's another way you can say that? How can you make the sentence so that quickly is next to read? How would you change the order of the sentence? What you said was perfect, but if you just want to reorganize it.
Okay. I read quickly instructions.
Almost there. Let's switch the order. So instead of...
Yes, I quickly read instructions.
Fantastic. I quickly read the instructions. And what verb is your adverb modifying in this example?
Read. Yes, it's a read.
Exactly. Perfect, right? I quickly read the instructions. Quickly is modifying read, right? Yulisa, let me ask you, so actually before I ask you anything, Yulisa, I need to teach you guys about another aspect of adverbs, right? So we saw 3 aspects: modifying a verb, modifying an adjective, or modifying another adverb. The 4th function is that it can actually describe an entire sentence. It can modify an entire sentence. And these adverbs are actually kind of special. You can begin an adverb saying, or you can begin a sentence saying something like, luckily, we already knew each other. Luckily, America didn't invade Syria. Luckily, Monia and Emmy knew each other from before, right? So when we use luckily as an adverb in that example, it is modifying the entire sentence. Everything that comes after luckily, right? Another example is obviously. Many times in English, we begin a sentence using obviously. Obviously, Buenos Aires is the capital of Argentina. You know, obviously, Lima is in South America, right? So that obviously adverb is modifying the entire sentence. Okay, so that's another type of adverb that we have. And then the last type of adverb that I think we should talk about is something that modifies a prepositional phrase. Okay, so what does that mean? A prepositional phrase is a phrase in English that has a preposition. So prepositions include, for example, to, on, above, below, right? They describe, prepositions are short words, usually very short words, that describe how two things are related. So the book is on top of the table. The computer is below my bookcase, my shelf, whatever, right? So these are all examples of prepositions. We can use adverbs to describe prepositional phrases. And the best way to think about this is if you are in a new city, maybe you're in a new city and you need directions, right? When we talk to people about directions, we use adverbs like immediately, right? Make a left and it will be immediately to your right. Immediately to your right, okay? So immediately, this adverb is describing the prepositional phrase to your right, okay? Or, for example, you can think of it as immediately, directly is another one, right? If you go straight for 3 miles, the building will be directly in front of you, okay? Directly in front of you. In front of you is the prepositional phrase. Directly is the adverb. Okay? So we have 5 major examples of how adverbs can describe other situations, right? They can modify verbs, they can modify another adjective, they can modify another adverb, they can modify an entire sentence. Obviously, Lima is the capital of Peru. Obviously, Riyadh is in Saudi Arabia, modifying the entire sentence. And the 5th example is if it modifies a prepositional phrase. Okay? Any questions about any of that stuff that I just talked about? The 5 major ways we can use adverbs.
For example, in this case, if I say it is just above, just would be the adverb.
So if you say it is just above the, for example, the bookcase, I don't know, or the television, right? I'm trying to think. In that example, is just an adverb. The problem with, I think that is correct. I think that is absolutely correct. I think just is an adverb in that example because we are modifying. Just is the adverb that is modifying the prepositional phrase, right? And what is the prepositional phrase in your example, Lisa?
Above.
Above, right? Or you can say the phrase would be all of it, right? So above the television, right? Just the preposition is above, but the phrase would be all of it. So I think that's a great example, right? You can say other ways people say use just. I'll just check my email for 1 second. I'll just check my email for 1 second, right? What is the, so Emmy, what is the adverb in that example?
Just.
Just, and what is the verb that is being modified? I'll just check my email for 1 second.
Check.
Check, fantastic, right? Or for example, some people say like if you guys are all girls, so maybe your boyfriend or your significant other is giving you a hard time, and you can say, he just won't listen to me. Oh my God, he just won't listen to me. I mean, I'm just making a joke here, but sometimes girls do say that, right? Don't get mad at me. Anyway, yeah. So, he just won't listen to me, right? What is the verb that is being described here with the adverb just? What is the verb?
Listen.
I'm sorry, Lisa, say that one more time.
Listen.
Good, listen, but for example, what about won't, right?
Won't
he just won't listen to me, right? So he just will not listen to me, right? So that's another example in which we can use, that is a more complicated example, honestly, but yes, to answer your original question, Yulisa, just is an adverb. Perfect.
Okay.
I know I kind of talked like 5 minutes about just that example, but okay. So any other questions, guys? The 5 major ways we can use adverbs. Any other questions? Emmy or Monia or
No, thanks.
Noelia? Everyone's good?
There is a list of adverbs or is
Yeah. Yeah, there should be a list for you guys. Let's see. Let me find a good one, actually. So, list of adverbs. I want to find something from a university that's a little bit more professional so that it's not something that people just threw away. Okay, so this, I think, example. This is a PDF document with a list of tons of adverbs. Okay, tons of adverbs. Very professional adverbs, going from very advanced adverbs all the way to more less advanced adverbs, right? So I think that's a good list for you guys to refer to. And yeah, so no more questions, guys. So you guys have a list, and Emmy and Ulisa and Monia, no questions from you guys?
No.
No, thanks.
Okay, fantastic. All right, 26 minutes past the hour. I think this is a good point for us to begin talking about the article for today, right? So how many of you guys know who Martin Luther King was? Martin Luther King.
I've heard about it, but I don't know what
Okay.
did he done.
Okay, fantastic. So you'll learn a lot in today's class. Ulisa, have you heard about Martin Luther King?
Yes, but I don't remember very clear.
So, no, that's good. That's good. This class will definitely help you remember. And Monia, have you heard about Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yes.
What did you hear about him?
Not too much, but I remember that I watched a movie about him, but I'm not sure that I remember everything. It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. That's fine. Noelia, have you heard of Martin Luther King Jr.?
I don't know a lot, but I know that he uh, he was an activist that fight for the African um, um, I don't know to say for the rights of the people in
Yeah,
Okay.
that's perfect. That's perfect, Noelia.
I
Yeah, I'm
use
sorry, Emmy.
I use Sheikh Google,
You use
and
Sheikh Google, okay.
yes, and I saw his picture. Yes, I remember who's Martin Luther King. He's
Yeah.
the one from American citizen was looking for rights for black people,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and he killed.
And he was killed. Yeah, he was
Yes, he
killed
was killed.
because of his views.
Yes,
A lot of people didn't like him, so he was killed, right? So,
but I don't know if I know a lot about Malcolm X, but I think he was his friend or in the same ideas in the
definitely,
same time.
definitely. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. were contemporaries of each other, right? In English, if we say somebody if something is contemporary, let me write this down. Contemporary means someone that is contemporary means similar time, similar time. So, for example, if somebody is if something is contemporary today, then that's something that is, for example, in style today, in fashion today, right? So similarly, Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, they lived in the same time, and they also had a very similar worldview. They had very similar.
Yeah, I've remembered now. The movie was about Malcolm X, and Martin Luther was his friend in the movie.
Yep. Fantastic. So it gives you a little bit more of a historical picture when we do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, guys, is let's get started. I'm going to paste the article that we're going to read about in the Colingo chat window, and I'm also going to screen share so that you guys can see my screen, and that way we can get started. So this article is from Fox News, which is not the best news channel. I think a lot of people have heard bad things about Fox News. But it's something that I think they did a good job with this article. So we should always, try to find sources from all newspapers. So FoxNews.com article. I'm going to start screen sharing now so that you guys can see my screen. Let me know if any of you have problems opening up this link because I want to make sure we all have access. So let's do this. Okay. Oh, okay, my screen share is ridiculous now. It's getting very small. Let's do this one. Okay, so I'm having troubles with my screen share. This has happened a few times. What I'm going to do is, do all of you guys have the article open?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I'm just going to start reading at the top. So let's start reading at the top here. Obama to give personal reflections on Martin Luther King Jr. at 50-year anniversary of March on Washington. 50 years after Martin Luther King Jr. shared with a divided nation his dream of racial equality, America's first black president will mark the anniversary and the progress made since the 1963 March on Washington on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. The president will be joined Wednesday for the Let Freedom Ring ceremony by a host of civil rights leaders, as well as past presidents and members of the King family. Obama will speak roughly 50 years to the minute since King delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. He is expected to offer his personal reflections on the civil rights movement, King's speech, the progress achieved in the past 50 years, and the challenges that demand attention from the next generation. The ceremony will also feature musical and dance performances and notable guests from Oprah Winfrey to UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon via video. It will be emceed by Soledad O'Brien and Hill Harper. Former Presidents Jimmy Carter and Bill Clinton will also attend. Former President George W. Bush, who was invited but is still recovering from a heart procedure, will not attend. He said in a written statement that our country has come a long way since that bright afternoon 50 years ago, yet our journey to justice is not complete. Okay. The rest of this article is not that important, but we can stop reading there. So what is the point of this article? So I'll give you guys a little bit of historical background. 50 years ago, on August 28, I think it was, oh yeah, Monia, thanks for sharing the link about Malcolm X. It's a good movie, a very good movie actually. 50 years ago in August, so roughly 50 years ago, Martin Luther King Jr. decided to make a very large protest, right? He decided to, with his followers, they went to Washington, D.C., the Capitol. They went to the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, okay? The Lincoln Memorial is a... one second, guys. Memorial is a very large building that is a memorial building for Abraham Lincoln, who was a very famous president in American history. So he went to the Lincoln Memorial. Abraham Lincoln was the president who actually freed the slaves, okay? Before Abraham Lincoln, the United States had a slavery policy. African people were brought to America as slaves, and Abraham Lincoln in 1865 decided to end slavery, okay? So Martin Luther King Jr. went with his followers to the Lincoln Memorial, and he delivered a very powerful speech, which is become very famous as it's known as the "I Have a Dream" speech. Okay, and his dream, Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream, was that one day racial segregation, black versus white, would no longer be something that affects America. Okay, so in the 1960s, so this speech was in 1963. In the 1960s and before, in the United States, there were separate bathrooms for white people and black people. Okay? So if you were black, you could not go to a white person's bathroom. There were separate drinking fountains, like water fountains.
Restaurants also.
Restaurants, exactly, had different areas for black people to sit and white people to sit. And also on the buses, black people had to sit in the back of the bus. They were not allowed to sit in the front of the bus. Okay? So Martin Luther King Jr. and his followers, they saw this situation and they were very upset that a country where, you know, one of the most important things in America is, you know, all men are created equal, right? All men and women are created equal, right? So why do we have this discrimination? We have this segregation. Segregation means separating, right? We have this discrimination and this segregation. So they fought, and they fought many, many years to eliminate racial segregation and racial discrimination in the United States. And Barack Obama is obviously the first black president. He, on the 50th anniversary of this speech, he was able to deliver a speech of his own that talked about his own dream of, you know, the future and what America can do to become much more like that dream that Martin Luther King shared with us 50 years ago. America is still not a completely equal society, right? There are still a lot of problems in America, black and white, and now we have, you know, people of all different colors, not just black and white. And we are still fighting for equality. So that is the basis of this article. Any questions about what we read or about this issue in general? Maybe you guys are curious about something.
Yes, I just want to ask.
Sure.
Okay, is that articles talk about something Obama will celebrate for it?
So this article is actually from the past. This article was saying that Obama will give a speech on the 50th anniversary of that I Have a Dream speech. So it already happened. He did give a speech. I watched maybe 20 minutes of it. It was okay. It wasn't a very good speech. I thought he could do a lot better. It was okay. It was a good speech.
Okay.
And Monia, did you have a question?
No, I just I think I saw I noticed that in the movies the discrimination between white and black people in America and the U.S.
What kind of discrimination did you see in that movie?
Actually, in the when it comes to the judge and justice, and if a black man just killed a white man, he will go to prison. But if the white man killed the black, they may forgive him or find many excuses for him.
Yeah, there were many examples of, you know, times in United States history when, for example, the people who were, if a black person was being tried for a crime, if a black person was, you know, then they would be much more difficult with the black person than if it was a white person who was being sentenced, you know. So, yeah, many... Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, Monia. No, go ahead.
In reality, I still remember when they put Obama as a president for the U.S., how the black people get happy and how that make a huge, you know, buzz about that, and how a black man can control the U.S. Things like stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very big thing, you know. I mean, we African Americans have had a lot of difficulty in the U.S. Many hundreds of years of slavery and then discrimination, and finally for somebody who is black to become president. It was a very big deal. Very big deal. So, Emmy, we
Yeah.
actually, I don't know if you want to, we shouldn't use racist words. Generally, the words aren't appropriate. But, I mean, what words were you thinking of? I mean, for example, normally in like professional English, we say black or we say African American. African American is the most professional way. Some people say Black American also.
No, I was I mean that I can change or use racist word instead of discrimination.
Oh, okay. Discrimination is one
Yes, it's
form.
I didn't hear it in the movies. Discrimination.
Discrimination. Okay, so there's another way. So you racism instead of discrimination.
Yes, racism, racist, something.
Yeah, somebody who is racist follows racism or believes in racism, right? So racism is the ideology, right?
Yes, and when we read about something like that, we said that is racist.
That is racist.
Racist?
Yes, that is
Yes,
racist. That is racist.
okay.
So, for example, if I go to somebody and I say, like, if I tell Noelia, hey, Noelia, you're from Argentina. I don't like Argentinian people. That's racist, right? That's racist. That is racist on my part, and that makes me a racist. Okay? So that's
Yeah.
the situation. That's the description. But
Okay.
if somebody has an ideology, everyone from Argentina is bad, then that is racism, right? Or you can think of it as discrimination also, that you are discriminating against somebody from Argentina.
Okay.
And segregation just means separation. So those two mean the same thing.
Okay.
So any other questions, guys, about the article? We're going to jump into some other questions right now. Ulisa, you've been quiet for a while.
Yeah,
How's
I
everything?
was checking the reading. There is
Okay.
a part that says Obama will speak roughly 50
Uh-huh.
years to the minute. I don't understand that.
Very good question. What is the adverb in this sentence?
Yeah, roughly.
Roughly, fantastic. And it's describing speak, right? So what the article is saying is Obama will speak roughly 50 years to the minute, which means that almost exactly 50 years after Martin Luther King gave his speech, almost to the exact minute. So let's say Martin Luther King gave his speech at 12:45 p.m., right? 12:45 p.m. on that day, 50 years ago, Obama will also speak from maybe 12 o'clock to 12:45, exactly the same time, almost exactly the same time that Martin Luther King spoke. Yeah, to the minute means like almost to the minute that Martin Luther King spoke. So the same time, 12:45 to 12:45. 12:45 50 years ago and 12:45 today. So yeah, they wanted to make it very special. They wanted to make this a very big event for everybody in America, also especially for African Americans, but more so for everybody in America. So hey, Ling, how's it going?
Hi, it's good.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. First
Welcome. Yeah, welcome to my class. We are a little bit ahead of schedule though, so we have a lot of stuff going on.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. What we are going to say, we're going to actually start the questions aspect of class right now, Ling. If you don't mind, the link to the article is in the Colingo chat window.
Okay.
Yeah, we're discussing adverbs mainly, and also the I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King Jr. 50 years ago, and President Obama gave a speech about that speech. Just a few weeks ago, I think maybe 1 week ago. So it was a very special time for Americans because we were remembering all of the struggles and sacrifices of Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
let me know though if you have any questions because I know you did join a little later. So okay. So Emmy, I have a question for you. Was inequality, and this is also a question I guess for Monia, was inequality ever a theme or ever a problem in your country's history, in Saudi or in maybe also in Jordan?
Again, please.
Was inequality, so lack of equality, right? Absence of equality. Was inequality ever a problem in your country's history? Were people unequal? Did we have racism? These kinds of problems?
A little bit, you know. You can find a difference between the Saudian people and non-Saudian in education and medical places. Not all of them, but sometimes.
So there is some inequality. There is some inequality in like Saudi today.
Yeah.
There is. Okay. What would you say, Monia, about that? Actually, Monia, were you speaking? I'm sorry. I think Emmy also. Both of you guys. Who just spoke? Was it Monia who just spoke?
Yes, it's Monia.
No, not
me. Monia. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, guys. I was getting you guys confused. Okay, Emmy, you can also share your opinion. Inequality.
Yes, unfortunately, it's a problem here, and it's not in Saudi Arabia or in Jordan. It's now spread in the whole Middle East countries because we have racist on the citizens of country citizens. They must have lots of rights, and that's their rights. Yes, we know that, but another people lives there with their in their countries also must have rights, but actually we are now convenient with that. We don't have problems because we don't have any chance to change it, and it's spread unfortunately a lot, because a lot of people now yes, we okay, I am not a Saudi citizen. I must I must make myself equal to Saudis because it's their country, it's their money. I think if a few years from these days, yes, that was very sad. But now we are so convenient with that because we don't have any chance to change it. Take it or leave.
You know, Emmy, you did a beautiful job describing what the situation is, but just one thing. We shouldn't say convenient in this example. We should say complacent. Okay?
What does that mean?
If you are complacent with something, then you are okay with it. Okay? So, for example, I am complacent with a small home or living in a small home, right? For example, people in Saudi, foreigners in Saudi, are complacent with their situation.
Or we don't complain about that.
Or we don't complain. Fantastic, right? If you are complacent with something, you don't complain about it. Convenience is something different, right? Convenience is, for example, maybe instead of having to drive 5 miles, I can walk to a shopping center. That is more convenient for me, right? So a little bit of a difference in there, but I mean, besides that, it was very good discussion.
Thanks.
No problems. Ulisa, was racism, was segregation, inequality, was it or is it still a problem in your country?
Well, about racism, yes, I think this still exists. And about inequality, yeah, just definitely this has to be still work on because even if the economy says that we are increasing, we are doing better economically, the changes for better are happen mostly in the cities of the coast.
Mm-hmm.
There is still a lot of inequality with the places in the highlands or in the jungle even more. So we are talking about development, but the development here is still for a certain group. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
cover all of the places, all of the regions.
Mm-hmm. So is in Peru, is the inequality based on your origin, maybe what part of the country you're from, or is it based on more racism, more racist attitudes? Maybe if you have light skin versus dark skin versus if you are indigeno, if you're indigenous versus if you are not indigenous, are those the the things that matter in the inequality,
Can you
Yulisa?
repeat? My net is very slow.
Sure, sure. No. I just wanted to say, what is the basis? What is the basis of inequality in your country? Is it because of skin color? Is it because of origin? Is it what are the factors, I guess?
I would say maybe because of the geographic place that you were born. For example,
Mm-hmm.
if you were born in the highlands, you can be seen as someone that is less than I don't know, someone who was born in the coast.
Or in Lima, for example.
Yeah, but Lima now it's a mix of people from all the regions, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Nice. That's interesting. So
I would say that
geographical. Yeah.
geographically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would say something. I'm sorry, I cut you off, Yulisa. You can continue saying what you wanted
Yeah,
to say. Sure.
I would say that the inequality comes basically because of where were you born.
Mm-hmm. So place of birth, geographical affiliation, those are the things that are racist, cause inequality in Peru. What about, Noelia, what about in Argentina? Is there racism or inequality among different groups of people?
Yeah, actually, it's a problem because it's, there is a lot of Argentinians that are racism,
They're
with
racist, uh-huh.
racist with Bolivian people,
Mm-hmm.
and it is so cool because it's because there is a big immigration to Bolivian people that go to principal to Buenos Aires looking for a job, and there is a big um, uh, resistation about that because I think that is the same situation in all the countries that have a big immigration looking for work,
Mm-hmm.
for a job, because some people think that these people take a place to work, uh, but actually it's not that because in general people that come to Argentina work in a kind of work that nobody wants to do. So is this the situation,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really sad.
It's a very similar situation in other parts of the world too. I would say in the United States, very similar because we have
Yeah,
a, you know,
and I saw the same situation in Italy. I was living in the north of Italy, and with the Romanian is the same situation. And the Romanian go to Italy to work in a farm, and this kind of hard work that nobody wants to.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Italian people discriminate the immigrants.
Yeah. Very similar in the United States. We have a lot of people, for example, coming from Central America who work in the United States or from Mexico, and now there's a major immigration problem. You know, these people are treated unfairly in many, many ways. So, yeah, it's actually very similar, but also very sad that we have the same problem in so many places.
Yeah, and they're living in a really hard situation because they don't have visa, they don't have and for that they don't have a um, work
Work permit,
work card.
work permit,
Yeah,
yeah.
that. So they don't have any rights.
Yeah, they don't have any rights because they don't have any of these things, right?
They
And
don't have access to the health and education and nothing.
yeah,
It's
it's
really
very,
hard.
it is very difficult. Yeah, I mean, why do you guys think though? Let's just take a step back. We're going to take a step back and review this this theme kind of in general. Do you think inequality, like this kind of inequality that we're talking about, does it inhibit progress? Does it prevent progress? Yeah. So Monia, let's start with you. You think racism exists everywhere. Do you think racism and inequality, is it bad for progress?
Um, Not necessary. Um, it depends on the people of the country.
Mm-hmm.
If they were active and much better than the foreigners, then that will be good for the economy and education, you know.
Mm-hmm. But do you
But
think?
there are
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
no, please go
No, I was
ahead.
just gonna say, I mean, just in general though, inequality, right? Someone is better than you, or I am better than you, or someone else is better than me because he is black or white and I am black or white. I mean, is that inequality as a principle, is that something that prevents countries and people from making progress, from becoming better societies?
No, no,
Okay.
I don't think so.
So you think some inequality is actually good for society?
Yeah, yeah. When that come to, I don't know, just like they say this.
Yeah.
They keep saying this, and this is yeah, because
It's
they every country want her want its young people to get jobs and find and get better incomes, you know.
mm-hmm. So this view is kind of unrealistic, right? Yulisa, would you say that it's unrealistic, Yulisa, that we have a world without inequality?
I would like to believe that things are changing or are going to change
Mm-hmm.
because now you see how the the diversity is more valued.
Mm-hmm.
Many places who have a multiculturalism, they that's something that they to be proud or I don't know. But about the previous question, I think that the inequality, yes, it has to do with the less progress of a country because if the people doesn't feel included, how can they continue developing or being part of something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
So there's value in that, right? Hopefully, as a society, as a world, we are changing towards more progress and less inequality, right? But it might not be realistic for every country, for every society. Noelia, do you think the same way? I mean, does inequality prevent progress? Is it necessary to have some inequality?
Um, I think that it's convenient to people with power,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that if you see the most developed countries, but not necessarily in the about economy, but about culture, about high quality of life. For example, the the northern European countries like
Norway,
mm,
Sweden.
yeah,
Yeah,
Denmark, these
yeah.
kind of countries, they have the same opportunity to everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a really high quality of life, and they have a good economy, a good level of culture. So I think that when you have the same opportunities to everybody, is the best way to develop.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think that's a great note to end this class on, guys. Unfortunately, this class has to end now, but I do have another class starting right now in case you guys are interested in joining that as well. So
Okay.
thank you, everyone, for such a great class. I hope to see all of you in another class very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Thank
Farhan.
you.
Take care,
Thank you.
guys.
See
Bye-bye.
you.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye,
See you
Bye-bye.
soon.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Things are good. It's a nice Sunday afternoon, very quiet. It's also getting much cooler here in North America. So I think maybe it's the opposite in Lima because you guys are about to start spring in a few weeks.
Yeah, hopefully. Today it was a bit sunny,
Uh-huh.
so I I went to do some exercise by
Uh-huh.
bicycling
So you decided to ride your bike? Uh-huh.
for 1 hour. So it was great because
Nice.
the other days it's cold and no, I don't I don't like to bicycle when it's cold.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even I think one of the things I really enjoy doing is if it's not a very windy day, I
Uh-huh.
enjoy biking right along the edge of the water. So we we are
Ah,
we are far away from oceans or lakes, or we are far away from oceans in my part of the country, but there's some very nice lakes. So there's some parks that are right next to the lake. So if the day is not windy, I like to ride my bike right next to the water. It's very nice.
yeah, cool. Very
Yeah,
relaxing.
very relaxing. Unfortunately, today is too cool for that. I feel like if I have to maybe wear a sweater if I'm outside and trying to bike. So yeah,
It is
uh,
changing.
definitely it's changing. The weather is changing all the
What
time.
time? What time is it there?
5 o'clock,
Ah, the same.
same as Lima. Yeah,
Same.
Central time in the United States, or Mexico City also is the same time, and then Lima and I think Bogota is also the same time.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, very nice, very nice. Hey, Monia, how's it going?
Hey, Farhan.
How's it going?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I think this is your first time in my class.
Everything is good.
Where are you
Yes,
from?
exactly. I'm from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, very nice. There are a lot of Saudi students. Yesterday, I met two new Saudi students. Emmy, who just joined, she is also from Saudi Arabia. What part of Saudi do you live
Really?
in, Monia? Yeah,
I live in Mecca,
Mecca
the holy
al-Mukarramah.
city. Yes,
Absolutely. I know, I
exactly.
know. I was born in Najran, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was
the south.
the very south, near Yemen.
Yeah, I have my parents actually from Yemen,
Oh, nice.
but
So
yeah,
yeah, Najran,
I've born here.
you're born in Mecca.
I've born in Taif.
In Taif. Okay, so very close.
No, in Taif.
Taif. Yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
Well, nice
Fantastic.
to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well. I hope you can join me in a few other classes. So, Emmy, welcome to class. I think we don't need to be introduced. I think we know each other
Yes.
pretty well.
Hi.
Yeah.
Salam
And you,
alaikum.
Walaikum salam. You, Lisa, you know this phrase, Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, I have.
Moni, are you there? Maybe she can't hear me. Yulisa, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Ulisa. I am from Peru. I live in Lima, and what else? I'm here to keep updating my English, keep improving, speaking better. Yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. And Emmy, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Okay, my name is Amy. I'm from Jordan, but I live in Saudi Arabia. I'm programmer, computer programmer actually, working online on my home. I met you, Lisa, and I met Monia, but welcome Noella.
Thanks.
No, I don't.
Noelia.
Noelia. Okay,
Yeah.
nice name.
Thanks.
Great. So yeah, Monia, are you there? Can you hear us? Maybe she is not there right now. And in any case, so just to give a little bit of background on me for people who might not have met me yet, my name is Farhan. I live in Wisconsin, which is a very agricultural state in the U.S. It's in the middle of the country. It's in the northern part of the country, so we call it the Midwest. You guys are from the Mid-East, so Emmy and Monia are from the Middle East. I am from the Middle West, the Midwest. And so if we talk about the United States, the Midwest is roughly the center of the country in the north part. And lots of farms here. I think every time I try to explain Wisconsin, so this is my state, Wisconsin. Every time I describe Wisconsin, everybody says they don't know anything about it. So I just say that it has a lot of cheese, a lot of milk, a lot of dairy, a lot of cows. We have probably more cows than we have people. So it's a very agricultural state. Yeah, lot going on. I should say not a lot going on, but 2 hours from Chicago, roughly. So if you know where Chicago is, we are about 2 hours north of Chicago. So, yeah. Monia, so you're back. Can you hear
I'm
us now?
sorry.
Yeah.
It
Would
was
you
a
mind?
bad connection.
No worries. Would you mind saying a little bit about yourself to the rest of us? Just introducing yourself.
Sure. My name is Anni-Frid Lyngstad. I'm from Saudi Arabia, and I'm studying at the Department of European Languages and its Literature. And also I'm teaching science and math and English for secondary and intermediate school.
Mm-hmm. All of this in Mecca?
I'm learning English because I love. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were saying. All of.
And I love learning English, and I'm here. Yeah, I'm here to improve my language and my pronunciation and other things.
Fantastic! Thank you for
I
joining.
have a friend from Saudi Arabia. He lives in Al-Hasa.
Al-Hassa, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. And he taught me some
It's a
words.
desert.
There are lots of
Hi,
Saudis. So many Saudis. Yeah. It's good. And Noelia, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, it's Noelia.
Noelia, where are you from?
I am Argentinian.
Argentinian.
But now I am living in Brazil.
Brazil, very nice, very nice. That's great. I think it's your first time in my class as well.
Yeah.
How long have you been studying on Colingo?
Just 3 weeks.
Just 3 weeks. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
I've been teaching for maybe 6 weeks, so I'm also relatively new to this, to the Colingo experience. But
Okay.
yeah, and I'm actually very happy all of you guys joined in maybe the first 5 minutes. We are going to wait just a few more minutes. Have you guys all met each other before? Noelia, have you met these other ladies?
No.
Okay. You can introduce yourselves, guys, while we wait. I mean.
Okay, so I am Noelia. I'm from Argentina and I'm living in Brazil. I am architect and I came to Brazil for a post-graduation 3 years ago, but now I'm working in an architecture office.
Fantastic. Monia, would you mind to tell us something about yourself?